Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of I don't even know what to call the show. Three guys talk about football.
Nice.
That's what we'll call it.
It's a
Uh,
completely original concept, Coach.
Completely original. Definitely not an outlet for us to just rant about football for like an hour.
No,
But
not at all.
yeah, hey, I'm Krendort. Welcome, Sinvicta.
Hello. Hi, Coach. Thanks for having me here. Looking forward to acting like we know anything about football, and we're ready to make the big time plays today.
Very excited for those plays. And Alpaca Patrol Rob, how are you doing?
Oh, hello. I'm doing quite well, you know. I'm having a good time. My team, I'm feeling pretty good about this year, so I'm pretty overall happy.
All right. Well, speaking of being happy about your team, let's jump in and talk about your team right away that lost. So, what happened? What happened there?
There's a lot of things, right? So it was probably. By the way, I'm a Jets fan. For those of you who don't
Right.
know me,
Jets
yeah,
ROBS.
JETS, just endure the suffering.
Wasn't Fireman Ed there too? He was trying
He
to cheer
was,
him up.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was at the Lions game too. Actually, okay, so I'll double back. I'll go back 1 week when we fucking stomped the shit out of the Lions.
Right.
And to a degree, I kind of feel bad because we hurt Matt Stafford, and I like
Mhm.
Matt Stafford. I think he's a very good quarterback, and I think he's underrated in the league. But we destroyed them, and the Jets don't do that. Like straight up, we don't do that. We actually got to the red zone at the end of the game, and we were like, we could, if we had even kicked a field goal, that would have broken the franchise record for most points in a single game.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So as a first game for a rookie, it's a pretty positive, it's a pretty
Yeah.
positive game. With that
I
said,
mean, he's no Ryan Leaf.
right. Well, it doesn't seem like it so far, which I'm pretty excited about.
Hey, he's competent.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
very much so. And unemotional, unlike Leaf. But so so obviously as a Jets fan, I was super happy about that first week, but it was important to bring us down to earth and lose in the second game and remind myself and everyone else that's a Jets fan that they're still the Jets and they're still gonna do Jets things, and they did Jets things, like turnovers and drop passes and all this other stuff, and it did show that, like, yeah, okay, our holes that we thought we had are still there. We don't have an effective, consistent pass rush. We don't have we have a pretty bad O-line, and our receiving core is not as good as we all want it to be, because we have some players in there that are pretty exciting. But
Who actually are the Jets receivers?
so we got Quincy Enunwa, seems like our number one right now. He was out all last year.
Mhm.
He's a beast. Like he on Sunday, like he didn't drop anything. He was like the only guy that was catching passes.
He's pretty much known for his good hands.
Yeah, he's got great hands. And then Robbie Anderson, who's like crazy fast, but he dropped a couple passes yesterday, unfortunately. And then we've got Jermaine Kearse from the Seahawks. He played on Sunday, but I don't even think he. Let me check. I don't think he even registered a catch. Like he was just like basically non-existent. And then
How old
Calvin
is Jermaine?
Pryor. He's like
Calvin
27 or
Pryor?
something. Yeah, we got Calvin Pryor.
Isn't Calvin Pryor a safety?
The former QB Calvin Pryor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's confusing
one.
me.
And he dropped like so. I don't want to take up all the time here talking about the Jets,
Right.
but Sam Darnold looks better than his stats show. His stats are 25 of 41 with 334 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. One completely on him. It was just a rookie mistake. He didn't see the corner jumping the route, stared down his receiver, and the guy jumped the route, took an interception. It was just his fault. The second one, it was Calvin Pryor just like not deciding to run the route. He just stops the route in the end zone, and then obviously Sam throws it to where he's supposed to be, and he gets a pick. So it's still a pretty positive game, even though we lost.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, I look at the scoreboard. It's like 20-12, and then they had 2 6-point things in the third and fourth. So in my mind, I see that, and I'm like, oh, they got killed there. Like they didn't do anything.
Yeah,
but obviously, there's got to be bright spots.
There are. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm kind of curious right now at the start of the season. Where do you think you're going to end up at the end of the season, record-wise?
It's weird, right? Because so we were 5-11 last year. I think we're a better team this year. Our schedule is not. It's weird, right? Because like when you look at strength of schedule, when they release the schedules, there's kind of no point because the strength of schedule changes year to year, right? So our strength of schedule is supposed to be pretty easy this year, right? Like we're in the top 5 or top 10 of easiest schedules, but that's based on last year, and it shifts so much every year that you can never know. Yeah. So I don't know. We have 2 Patriots games. Usually when you're playing in the AFC East, the Patriots basically mean you start the year 0-2. So you can pretty much mark 3 losses down. I think we're in the range of 6-10 or 6-10, and honestly 10-6. I think there's a chance that we get that hot, but I think it's less likely. Although I do think it's a low likelihood that we only win 6 games. I think we probably win like 7.
So a solid 7 and 9. That sounds about right, I think, unless something goes crazy good for them. Yeah,
I mean, and if we get 8-8 or even 9-7, I mean, the Bills in our division stuck into the playoffs last year on that.
Yeah,
so
that's
true. I mean, it's entirely possible we make the playoffs. We might sneak in. We'll see.
And the Bills, aren't going to be doing that this year.
The Bills are comically bad now, and it's hilarious to me.
I was gonna segue into Sinvicta's Buccaneers, but let's talk about the Bills first because they are a trash fire that have players retire at halftime.
Look. What I'm gonna say, I'm gonna eat crow for people who actually watch my Isaac series. You know that I've talked about this, and I was sort of like blasting just regular publications saying, like, this is during the preseason, mind you, people were like, are the Bills the worst team already in the NFL? And I was like, come on, like the season hasn't even started. Like let's at least wait till the like preseason's done before we get to the regular season. Right. But apparently everyone knows everything about like anything more than I do in sports because the Bills are actually the worst team I think I've ever seen. And hey, by the way, thank you, Vontae Davis, for giving me something to laugh at as I was bored on the second half of games because that is just.
I don't think that's ever happened in professional sports.
I don't think it has.
It hasn't happened in football. We know that now. It's never happened in the NFL.
I've never seen it, period.
Yeah, I don't. At the highest level of professional sports, I don't think that's ever happened where a guy's just like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm out. I'm just done. No more for me.
But at the same time, I can respect it. Like, you're on one of the worst teams I've ever seen, and you're just at halftime, and you're like, you know what? I'm not doing this. You just quit.
Well,
that's what I would do.
Okay, like so. I mean, I've been seeing like posts on Twitter about people talking about. You know, obviously, Bills fans are very angry at him. His teammates are very angry at him. I understand, and apparently, he wasn't very good anymore, right? But you got to think, right? Like, this is a guy who came here in the offseason, free agent, right? Like, he's 30 years old. The team, the Buffalo Bills, just got into the playoffs last year, right? For the first time in 20 years. So he's thinking, okay, I'm taking a contract here. This team's going to compete, right? And then they trade their quarterback who just got them into the playoffs for the first time in 20 years, right?
Right.
They trade their quarterback. Then they trade A.J. McCarron, the only guy with real NFL game experience, right? Because I don't think Nathan Peterman's first start counts. And then they say, we're starting that guy who threw 5 picks in the first half of his first start.
That is, it blew my mind that he was going to be the starter. When they were like, Nathan Peterman's our quarterback, I was like, wait, the interception guy? Like,
Now, before we go any further, I do want to read Vontae Davis's statement that he released. Have you guys heard it yet?
I haven't.
I've read it. Yeah,
I haven't heard it.
Well, for listeners and for Coach, I'm going to read it really quickly here, just to show the other side of this hilarious clown coin that we have. That is the situation.
All right.
I'll read it as fast as possible. This is quoted from Vontae Davis's official press release statement after the incident, which is just hilarious. This isn't how I picture retiring from the NFL, but in my 10th NFL season, I've been doing what my body has been programmed to do, get ready to play on game day. I've endured multiple surgeries and played through many different injuries throughout my career. And over the last few weeks, this was the latest physical challenge. But today on the field, reality hit me fast and hard. I shouldn't be out there anymore. I meant no disrespect to my teammates and coaches, but I hold myself to a standard. Mentally, I always expect myself to play at a high level, but physically, I know that isn't possible. And I had an honest moment with myself while I was on the field. I just didn't feel right, and I told the coaches I'm not feeling like myself. I also wondered, do I want to keep sacrificing? And truthfully, I do not, because the season is long, and it's more important for me and my family to walk away healthy than to willfully embrace the warrior mentality and limp away too late. This was an overwhelming decision, but I am at peace with myself and my family. I choose to be grateful. This is the best part. I choose to be grateful to God for allowing me to play the game that I have loved as a boy until I turned 30 years old. I choose to be grateful to God for being a part of the NFL and making lifelong friends over the last decade. There are roadblocks and pitfalls along the way, but I'm grateful to God for all of it because he doesn't promise any of us an easy journey. Lastly, I am grateful to God for what he has in store for me ahead in the next chapter of my life. Signed, Vontae Davis.
But I'm not grateful to God for putting me on this shitty ass build.
So he's claiming that it was like a sort of like an insurance move. He wants to save his body at the tender old age of 30.
Well, he probably does.
Yeah,
I can agree. I can agree with that. As someone who played football forever, like I know, and I never played at the highest level.
You know, if he was on like the Patriots, he'd sacrifice that body a little bit more. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I mean, like the reason I brought up all that shit about what the Bills were doing is that, like, so you know, consider his position: a 30-year-old free agent. I mean, he's at the tail end of his career. He probably was going to play out that contract and retire, right? And then the Bills start Nathan Peterman and say, "Hey, actually, we're not going to lie to you. We're not competing at all this year. We're letting you know Nathan Peterman is starting. It's not going to work, and we're not going to compete this year." Why would I stay on that contract? I wouldn't. Yeah. I would get out as well.
I was really hoping his statement would just be like, "Man, F this shit." Like, all right, I get it.
I mean, that's the surefire way to make sure you never play football anywhere for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
I guess he was just done, but like
he's probably got millions in the bank. So
he used to be good. Vontae Davis used to be an elite like coverage. I mean, but you don't. It doesn't matter. You just don't do that. You don't say screw it. You at least play out the.
I mean,
game.
Then you'll end up on the Bengals. Nobody wants that.
I mean, even Ryan Leaf like played through the game. So did Johnny Football and everyone else that sucked throughout the league. But like Vontae Davis was a marquee player, man.
Speaking of players that are kind of questionable and people that take over for them, like Fitzmagic, how are the Buccaneers?
Buccaneers doing fantastic. When we run down the power rankings, Coach, I'll drill you on what you think is the proper ranking, if you think it's right or not.
All right.
But the Bucs 2 weeks in a row, basically Fitzpatrick was the first and only player he was the first player in NFL history to pass for 4 touchdowns and over 400 yards in 2 games. Yeah. Back to back, which is incredible.
Against the Eagles too.
Against the Eagles, and the Eagles are the Super Bowl champions. For those of you who don't listen to football, first off, what are you doing? And secondly,
yeah.
But the things that worry about me about the Bucs though are that we just don't have a defense at all. The only reason why we've won these past 2 games is just because our quarterback is just playing his freaking beard off right now. Either that, Either that, or he was paid by someone in the Russian mafia to support that whatever getup he was wearing at the post game.
Oh yeah, the McGregor outfit.
He looked like he was a character like you hit random on like a not GTA 5 but GTA 4 create a character.
Yeah.
You just hit random and just say Nico Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
the
it's
Bucks
working.
are the Bucks. I'm glad that the Bucks are getting some respect. Would rather have Fitzpatrick over Winston any day because I've never liked Winston.
Mhm.
But not that I don't think that Jameis Winston is a capable quarterback. It's just that it seems like I've never seen the O-line fired up as much as they have been for Fitzpatrick in the last 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't ever see them doing that for Jameis Winston. And to be honest, if I had to pick between two, I'd trade Wilson. Or not Wilson. Yeah, I'd trade Wilson, and I would also trade Winston as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want him. They
Well,
can have
I don't
anybody
blame
wants him.
Winston, even like he's hitting that point in his career where like this is supposed to be like where he peaks a bit, right? Like he starts like rising, and he's just instead just getting suspended.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if I want this guy leading my team anymore.
This time it was for groping an Uber driver.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like
Stand up guy.
yeah, like I especially with like what's been happening recently with a lot of players, like with the things that have transpired with like Zeke and a couple of other players, where the accusers have kind of backed down and said like, oh, actually, I was making shit up.
Mm.
With Jameis, it's like this is the third time already.
Yeah.
The problem is him. Like he's the issue there,
Yeah.
right? Like if I'm a Bucks fan, I'd be on the same boat as you, Invicta. I'd be like, you know what, trade this guy. Like I don't want him on the team. You know,
Yeah.
personally, that's me.
I think even barring all those like other instances and like everything he's done, just him as a quarterback in general, I don't really think he's like the greatest quarterback. He's like a middle to lower middle of the pack quarterback.
He's a better, more agile version of Josh Freeman, but that's not saying a lot because I hated Freeman. I hated Freeman at Kansas, and I hated Freeman at his Bucks. And I never like the off the field problems with Jameis Winston, like stem back even back when he was at FSU. He was having so many issues with that sort of thing, partying and getting into inappropriate situations, or as the coaches put it, misunderstandings.
Yeah.
But he's just a douchebag. I've never liked him. I never have. He was first pick in the 2015 draft, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I wasn't thrilled then, and I'm not thrilled now. I am thrilled about Fitzmagic though. Now, the only thing and the last thing I'll say about this before we move on is that I'm not drinking the Fitzpatrick Kool-Aid because this is a pattern with him that
It's a
we've
cycle.
seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he goes from really, really good looking at like an elite quarterback to having one sort of shaky moment or shaky game, and then it's just all downhill. It's what he did it's what he did with the Bills, it's what he did with the Texans, and I hope that he doesn't do it. I'm not trying to knock the guy because I freaking love him, but I hope that he somehow has the confidence to not get in that little death spiral that Fitzpatrick's known for, because right now, man, he's I think between him and Mahomes, I mean, they've got two of the most exciting quarterbacks playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. I love seeing the Bucks having a passing attack and a passing attack.
So so Ryan Fitzpatrick used to play for the Jets, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I've been through.
You've experienced it.
And he used to play for the Bills as well. So I've seen a lot of Ryan Fitzpatrick in my day, and Ryan Fitzpatrick had a career year here. He might beat it this year, but he had a career year here and took us to 10-5, and we still missed the playoffs. But so I know the Fitztragic cycle extraordinarily well, and all I'm gonna say is I know you're feeling like consciously I gotta understand that Fitztragic is coming, but you're still in the afterglow of the Fitzmagic.
I'm
You're in the
hoping not,
honeymoon
Rob.
phase.
I'm hoping not.
I'm just saying he is more consistent at going through this cycle than he is at anything else in football.
Oh, I'm aware.
Actually, I linked the image in the private text channel in this Discord. If you've ever seen it, the Ryan Fitzpatrick cycle of get released, get signed as a backup,
Oh, yeah.
starter gets hurt, thrown into game, play very well, earn starting spot, get paid, suck, get released, and we started all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard to deny the guy's stats. This is a 2-game total for the 2018 season.
Oh, yeah.
This is just 2 games. Listen to this. He's got completion percentage 78.7%.
Yeah.
Total yards after 2 games 819 yards.
Yeah.
8 touchdowns and only 1 interception. He has a QB rating of 151 and at 0.5 right now. Like,
Yeah.
you would think that I was talking about like the greatest show on turf, like stats from the Kurt Warner era, or Rich Gannon, or like, you know, someone from an elite offense. But this is an offense that hasn't really changed a whole lot for Tampa. The only thing that's been changed for us has just been
The quarterback.
Winston's out. He's suspended, and Fitzpatrick came in here to lighten up the league.
Well, what do you
And,
think they're gonna? What do you think they're gonna do then? Like record wise, like do you see you guys like making the playoffs, or like do you see it falling off?
No, I see. Even if the Bucks do their usual slump towards the mid season, I think that it's almost inconceivable that we'll miss playoffs this year. I'm not saying that we're going to take the NFC South, because I think that the Panthers are still capable of taking it, but the Falcons as well are also. I mean, everyone in the NFC South is it's such a wild division.
Yeah.
It's vicious, man. And like, that's the great thing about the NFC South as well, is that all 4 teams, whenever they're playing against each other, just go for the jugular. It's a bloodbath whenever any of these 2 teams or any of the 4 teams play each other. So I would be shocked if the Buccaneers miss the playoffs. I'm almost guaranteeing that there's no way, even like if they don't win the division, I don't see it happening, especially now that they already have the heads-up win over New Orleans. I think the Bucs are a lock for at least the wild card. I'm not going to say they're going to win the division after 2 games, but I will almost guarantee that they'll make the playoffs at least this year.
So I don't want to disparage your team, but I'm looking at the NFC, and it's a rough conference, man. It is.
Oh, yeah, it's gotten a lot better.
As weak as the AFC, and if I'm looking at the NFC East, none of the teams have looked particularly good, even though that's the most volatile division in football. I don't think I'm gonna guess that the winner of the division's going to the playoffs, obviously, but I don't think a wild card's coming out of there.
Yeah, I'd agree.
The NFC North, however, Krendor's division, I think it's entirely possible that you get 2 wild card spots out of that division.
Oh yeah,
and then and the NFC South is extremely competitive as well. It seems like. And then the NFC West is looking weird, right? Like that's like the Cards look like garbage again.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks, they have turnstiles for an offensive line. Jimmy G's gonna have growing pains, and Sean McVay's still winning. So like, I don't know. There's a chance that a wild card comes out of there too. So I'm just saying the wild card spots are going to be hotly contested in the NFC. And I don't know, man. You still got the Saints in your division. It's still Drew Brees.
I disagree with you. I don't think there's any wild card coming out of the West at all. The North, maybe, depending on if the Packers or the Vikings decide that they just don't want to play anymore for this season. But I don't think we're going to see 2 wild cards out of the NFC North. I think the most logical places that we're going to see it are going to be the West and the South for the wild cards.
You think so over the North?
Yeah.
Oh, I disagree. I think it's to be North and South.
Yeah. I think
I'd say North and South.
Vikings are playing great football right now, and he doesn't have the gaudy numbers that Mahomes and Fitzpatrick have right now, but Kirk Cousins is playing really good football.
But you got to remember the rest of the West is terrible, though. Like if the season were to end today, it'd be the Rams on top of the division and the Niners in second place. The Seahawks and Cardinals, like, they have a worse record than the Browns right now.
Yeah, I don't think.
The West is trash.
Yeah, I think it's a soft division. But what I'm trying to say is that that's a couple of possibilities that the Rams and the Niners tee off on the rest of the division, and I wouldn't be surprised we've seen crazier things happen, especially with the North, considering the fact that that's also a super competitive division, and they always play division rivals pretty fiercely as well. I could see them canceling out a lot. That's my bold pick is one of the wild cards out of the South, the other one coming out of the West.
Well, I see that the Buccaneers play the Bears in week 4.
Yep.
And I'm kind of curious about that because the Bears are actually a really good defensive team, especially with Khalil Mack. And I'm
never heard of that
I want
player
to. Yeah, who's that? I'm curious to see how they play against like a good defense, and then the Bears' offense is like kind of mediocre, but they're good enough to like run the ball and kind of wear you down, and then score a few points and win.
Yeah.
So that's the Bears are kind of a toss-up too, because being in Chicago already, you hear about the Bears all the time, and I watch Bears games. Even though I don't like the Bears, but you just, you're forced to watch it because it's on all the time.
Coach, it's called the Bears.
The Bears.
I mean, and then you also got to keep in mind too. This is Trubisky's second year, right? I mean, he hasn't looked amazing, but he's got an offensive-minded head coach right now. Their defense looks damn near unstoppable with Khalil Mack. I mean, they were obviously stopped in the first week, but that was just like Aaron Rodgers being a god. Which is that you can't account for that. So I don't know, man. Like that's what I'm saying. I think I think there's a distinct possibility 2 wild card spots come out of the NFC North.
Yeah, it's going to be competitive. Speaking of the NFC North, I'm going to talk about the Packers-Vikings.
Yeah, Coach, what do you think about that tie there, Coach Craig? How do you feel about that?
Hated it. And here's why. Because the final call of that game where Clay Matthews got called for the pass interference or roughing the passer again, second week in a row. Last week I could see it. I was like, all right, he threw the ball, you wait like one Mississippi, and then he hits him. But this week he hit him as he was throwing the ball. Like there was I've seen so many plays happen like that and they just never get called. And so I was like, then we pick it off on that play. So we should have won. I feel like we should have won that game. It should have been over. I think we outplayed the Vikings pretty much that whole game up until that moment. And then Minnesota got their energy back like, yo, we can win this game. And that's when it all kind of clicked for them. Luckily, they can't kick field goals. So we were able to, outlast them in that scenario. But
Vikings and bad kickers named a more iconic duo.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys like that Madden image that I tweeted, where it's every single kicker just forgot how to play. It's unbelievable.
The worst part was Mason Crosby made the field goal at the end of the game, and I was like, all right, it's over, we win. And then they're like, timeout. They called timeout.
Whoever froze that kicker needs a raise. Absolutely.
And then I was like, dude, Crosby, he's been kicking like 10 years. Dude's like ice cold. This guy's got, and I was like, well, there, he missed it. All right, there we go. It was just that the end of that game was so bad. The first half of that game, we looked great. Like Rodgers was out there, like we were carrying over from the second half. We were playing fast, quick slant passes. We were hitting everything, running the ball, like everything. We made the Vikings look bad. And I was like, dude, I expected to get killed, but we're like crushing the Vikings. And then all of a sudden, fourth quarter hits and everything falls apart. But like, I think the division's going to be Packers, Vikings, barring injuries, and then the Bears in like a close third place, and the Lions are terrible. They're going to not even be contending.
Yeah, the Lions, man. The Lions.
They're so bad.
That's like, as a Jets fan, obviously we played them and I talked about it in the first week, but like everyone in the Jets world was like, are we really good or are the Lions really bad? And I think it might just be that the Lions are bad, and which is weird because it seemed like coming into. I mean, here's the thing: all the news stories now are like actually immediately after our win in Detroit, we're just like, oh well, yeah, nobody thought that the Detroit Lions thought that they were going to be good. But everybody before that game was like, oh, the Jets are going to get stopped. This is a playoff contender team. We got Matt Patricia here. We're coming over from New England. Of course, they're going to be a playoff contender. But as soon as the Jets win, it's just like, oh, no, they were the Lions. The Lions, come on. But it turns out maybe they're just bad. I don't know. It's hard to say, but it is week 2, so.
At least you don't have to worry about Stafford being your fantasy quarterback like I do.
Yeah,
that must have
that's
been a
good.
tough week 1.
Yeah, tough week 1 and tough week 2, Rob. Thank you very much.
Well, he threw for 3 touchdowns. In,
in garbage cleanup time.
Yeah.
He did better than my backup, which is luck.
So you should have took Pat Mahomes like I did.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Now, Coach Crendor,
God. But go on.
Pat Mahomes is insane.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be
I
like
don't think anyone thought he was
lights
gonna
out
be
good.
No, I don't think anyone expected this. Like he because he played he played in a couple of quarters last season, and he looked good. Like his rocket arm looked like a rocket arm. Holy Christ, though! I mean, it's like it basically. If Al Davis was alive, his entire house would be filled with his own semen, because they literally did the Al Davis strategy. Just draft a receiver who can run at 4.2 and have a QB that can throw it out of the stadium. And it's working, dude. It's working exceptionally well.
Well,
and,
the difference is that on top of those things, they also have some other assets instead of like, this is the only thing I can do. It's like, whoa, he's got accuracy as well? This is
exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
looking at the stats.
Yeah, go on.
23 of 28.
Yeah.
Like, that's really good. That's 326 yards, 6 touchdowns on 28 passes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like Big Ben had 60 throws for 3 touchdowns. Like, that's crazy.
People talk about like the eye test. Does the QB pass the eye test? It basically just means, do I like this QB or do I not? Right?
Yeah.
But most of the
Pretty
time.
much.
However, I will say, to be a hypocrite for a moment, if you watch the touchdowns, like, they pass the fucking eye test, dude. Like, it's not just like they're not just like getting the ball on screens to their playmakers and letting them make plays. Like, he's throwing bombs. And did you see that touchdown pass to Travis Kelce from this week's game?
Yeah, that was
like,
insane.
He throws it so fast that the defenders don't even have time to look backwards. Like, there may be 1 or 2 people on planet Earth that can make that throw. That, like, at that speed. It's insane, his arm. It's crazy. Yeah, it looks like Brett Favre. That's what he looks like. He looks like Brett Favre.
Well, I was gonna say his power throws they remind me not like Favre, but they remind me a lot of in his prime, Mike Vick.
Oh yeah,
with the tight spirals and just just the velocity that he's throwing.
Oh yeah,
that's who was echoing in my head when I was like, dude, this guy looks like he's not gonna have the wheels that Vick does. I mean, I don't think any quarterback will ever have that, but he does have the power and the strength in those tosses, man. And I was like, this guy looks like, if I didn't know any better, if I didn't see the Chiefs uniforms out there, I thought that I would be watching like an old Mike Vick highlight.
Yeah.
Well, do they have a good offensive line, right? I would imagine so.
Kansas City, yeah, they do.
Their entire offense is just loaded because I mean, I think Andy Reid was building the team around Alex Smith, and they were trying to hit a window. And then I think Pat Mahomes. I mean, obviously they traded up for Pat, right? Like, so like they knew. I think they, after a point, figured we're not going to go anywhere with Alex Smith, which I don't know. I'm on the fence about, but I mean, clearly they've made the right decision based on these 2 weeks of games at least. Like, I mean, this guy is a monster right now.
Well, yeah, you have Kareem Hunt running the ball, who's already really good. Then you got Travis Kelce. You got Sammy Watkins they brought in. I forgot he was even on the team. Tyreek Hill, who's, runs the 4-2. Yeah. And then they're just a crazy offense. I keep saying crazy. That's my word of the day. But, like, they're just a scary team. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to contend easily as long as they stay healthy.
Yeah, I don't watching bits and pieces of those games, like they are firing on all cylinders right now, and I don't see them not making the playoffs as long as they stay healthy. Like I in that division right now, you've got Denver, the Chargers, and the Raiders. Look, I actually like Gruden. I know a lot of people.
I do too. I like Gruden.
I like him. I think trading Khalil Mack was probably a mistake.
Yeah.
He looks like he's on track for possibly Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he definitely does.
But I don't know. It's weird, right, with the Raiders, because Derek Carr last week, he had like 90-something completion percentage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
didn't
like
know
hold
that.
on. Let me look at these stats here. So yeah, last week he he was 29 of 32 for 288 yards, 90.6 completion percentage.
Wow,
Okay.
I didn't know he was that accurate. Yeah, 3 incompletions.
And apparently, like one of them at least was a drop. Which, and if that guy hadn't dropped it, then he would have actually broken the single game record for completion percentage with over 30 attempts or over 20 attempts. Like that's insane. Like that's really fucking good. But they lost. They still lost, even though he's throwing 90% accurately. They lost the game. So I don't know, man. I don't think the Raiders are really going to compete. The Chargers they're the Chargers. I don't know.
Yeah.
You never
They
really
just
know.
they're kind of like a better version of the Browns in a way.
Yeah.
They always find a way to lose, but then sometimes they'll just overpower them with like some like Phillip Rivers magic or something. Like I don't.
Every year, people are like, "Well, on paper, the Chargers should win everything
they
in
said
the world
every
year." Yeah, and I mean, it's got to suck to be a Chargers fan. I'm just gonna say that. I feel for you, and fuck Dean Spanos, but like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. And then you got Denver. I mean, Von Miller's still playing. He's still a beast.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't
going to
know.
go out on a limb and say that I've always considered Phillip Rivers to be a discount Tony Romo as far as performance goes, and as far as like the history of him staying with one team, and they just always seem to be spinning their tires, showing like glimpses of greatness every now and then, and has powerful weapons. I mean, especially when like when LaDainian Tomlinson was in his prime. How do you lose anything between Tomlinson and Gates being on the same team? Like that should be an all-star Super Bowl lineup.
Well, I think with the if the Patriots weren't in their way, they probably would have won some Super Bowls.
Yeah, but they lose to the Broncos too. The Broncos dominate the Chargers most of the time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did end up having to play against Peyton Manning for a while.
Yep.
The thing is, the
he was kinda
Broncos are 2-0, and Case Keenum hasn't looked good
Yeah,
in either game.
he hasn't looked particularly great. Yeah.
He's got 19 of 35, 222 yards, and an interception. That was his stat line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really bad, but
Now-
they still won.
Now this is going to surprise you, Coach, and I want to get you and Rob's opinion on this. The point spread difference in the last 2 games. I'm just going to be talking about the Chargers and the Broncos. Which one of these do you think belongs to which team? All right. One of the point spreads, points for versus points against. You guys know what that is, but in case the listeners don't, one of them is the difference of 4 points, and the other one is the difference of 1 point. Which team do you think has the 1 point? Which team do you think has the 4 points for the spread there?
I would think the Chargers, personally, has the 4.
Coach?
Yeah, probably the Chargers.
Incorrect. The Chargers have lost by a spread of 1 point this entire season.
That's pretty Chargers-esque.
They are the second most scoring team in the AFC South. They've outscored by a pretty large margin over the Broncos have, but yet they're still 1-1.
Yeah.
because they have no defense.
Yeah.
San Diego has no defense, but I should
Los
say
Angeles,
San
Los
Diego.
Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
Excuse
Also,
me.
what a dumb move. Why did they move out of San
Oh,
Diego?
God.
That's
Yeah.
stupid.
Well, I think like the people. I mean, I'm not from LA, right? But like,
Right.
I imagine the people in LA are like, the Rams are coming back. Oh yeah, we got a football team again. Hey, I'm Dean Spanos. We're moving to LA too, and people in LA are just like,
Yeah, you should go back.
We
to
we already got one of those now.
yeah, so,
San Diego's such a beautiful city too.
yeah.
I've been there many times. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's it's surprising to hear that the Chargers have actually had a better defensive timeout this season than the Chiefs have. Chiefs have had 65 points scored against them in this season to the Chargers only 58 points. But somehow the Chargers are still in the third.
Chiefs are almost pulling like a Bucks here. They're like a more glorified version.
Yeah.
No defense, but a lot of offense.
They're the AFC version of the Bucks, which is crazy because the Chiefs are a way better team than the Bucks.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to be honest too. The Chiefs also have kind of a future with their QB right now.
Okay, listen.
I
didn't start throwing around insults when you're talking about the Sam Darnold Kool-Aid. All right, Rob.
Look, all I'm saying is, if your team drops Winston, I think that's a good idea. But if they decide, hey, you know what? Fitzpatrick did really well this year. Let's just pay him and not draft a QB. I think we could do it next year. It's not going to work. I believe me, it's not going to work. I've seen it so many times.
Oh, I told you I'm not drinking the Fitzpatrick Kool-Aid either. I mean, I will talk to me by like week 7 when we're like we've got a clear picture of what's going on in the NFL. But right now, Bucks are winning.
Well, that's the question with the Bucks too, right? Like, so Winston comes back week 4?
Yeah,
I mean, they've already said that Fitz is starting when Winston comes back.
Really?
Yeah.
They announced that? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
they officially said that Jameis will not be starting when he returns.
Wow.
Yeah, why not keep a good thing going? It's like no reason to switch it up.
Yeah, for real.
The offense just gels better with Fitzpatrick. But anyway, now
So-
Coach Krendor, I want to grill you here on the power rankings real quick, just to
All right, grill
just to
me.
give you your overall thoughts. I'm just going to give you top 10. All right.
Okay.
1, Rams. 2, Jaguars. 3, Vikings. Now, the Vikings in the third position really is a head scratcher.
Where are these power rankings?
This is
Where'd you
the
find-
official
where'd you
power
find?
rankings.
Where'd you find these trash rankings?
These are the official power rankings on NFL.com.
Oh,
Wow.
that's why. That's trash.
But how in the world? Well, let me finish out the top 10 real quick. All right, so
Okay.
1 we got Rams, 2 Jags, 3 Vikes, 4 Chiefs, 5 Packers, 6 Patriots, 7 Buccaneers, 8 Eagles, 9th is the Falcons, and 10th the Carolina Panthers, rounding out 3 of the 4 NFC South teams in the top 10 as ranked by the official NFL.com rankings here. Now, I want to know what kind of liquid encouragement are you pouring in your coffee to rank the Vikings, the 1-0-1 Vikings over the 2-0 Chiefs? Coach, your thoughts on that, Coach?
All right. First off, number 1, I wouldn't have the Rams. I would honestly keep the Patriots at number 1 because people are like, Patriots lost. They're going that. Like, people forget, like, the Patriots
happens
lost
every year.
last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, is this the year? And then they go on to just win everything.
Mhm.
And then I'd probably put the Chiefs at number 2. Then, the Jaguars. I might even put the Jaguars at number 2. So, and then maybe the Chiefs at 3.
But it's
I think- Listen, you get a good Bortles out there.
Yeah.
All right, you're solid. You just gotta hope you get the good one.
Look, Blake Bortles. I've actually. So I post on Reddit a lot. So with me. But
Rob
but
never.
here's the thing. I actually. I was the common sentiment on the NFL subreddit is that Blake Bortles is a piece of garbage, and well, not that he's a bad person, but like that he's replacement level, right? Like they can draft a new QB. I completely disagree, because if you look at his production last year, if you look at his production throughout his whole career, the dude's average. He's at times he's slightly below average, at times he's slightly above average. He's average, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Having an average quarterback, you can win the Super Bowl. It just happened last year, right? Like you can if you have a great defense and an average quarterback, you can win a lot of games. And guess what? They've got a great defense. And Blake Bortles sometimes, for some reason, lights it up. I don't know why. I mean, he did last week, right? So, and people say he's replacement level. Here's the thing. When you're trying to replace a QB in the NFL, you have about a 60% chance in the first 5 picks to get a QB, right? When you get into like the top 15, it drops down to like 40, 50%. And then like from then on, it's all just straight down, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's 60% counts if that player is average. So you have a 60% chance in the top 5 picks to get Bortles or better, right? So like you would be lucky to get Bortles. I don't know why they would move away from him. Plus they got Tom Coughlin involved, right? As a line there. Look what he did with Eli. He's got 2 rings.
It's a very like Joe Flacco Ravens-esque situation.
Absolutely, yeah.
I love that.
And Blake Bortles is 25.
Yeah.
Do you realize, like, because it feels like he's been playing for years. He's 25 years old. He's one of the youngest QBs in the league starting.
Yeah.
Knowing Rob as long as I have, I love that the pitch of Rob's voice goes higher the more he's researched into it. Notice the octave of Rob's voice will always go up when he's got evidence to back up what he's talking about.
It'll also go higher because at times that I know people are going to shit on me for something. Like, I know people.
What do you mean?
I like Blake Bortles. I know I'm a little biased there, but you know I think he's better than people say he is.
Well, like 2015, 35 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. 2016, 23 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. 2017, 21 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. And this year he's got 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So it's like, as long as you're throwing more touchdowns than you are interceptions, like it's pretty good.
If you do that and you go back and you look at like Eli's first couple of years, it's like the same stat line.
Yeah.
You can win with Blake Bortles. There is no reason to waste the draft pick on getting another QB.
I want to prove. I want to just state a point. I think that the Jags being so good, especially in the last couple of years, is not totally just Blake Bortles, because
of course
the Jacksonville defense is something to be admired for anyone who likes the defensive type teams. I mean, they almost had a little bit of a goof up against the Patriots towards the fourth quarter, especially after Bortles threw the INT. But overall, I think that the defense has proved a much more driving force in Jacksonville's rise to glory in the NFC, more so than Bortles. It's fun to make fun of Bortles, but like he's consistent.
Yeah,
well, it's almost like it's very similar to what the Bears are doing. Like Trubisky almost reminds me of like a more conservative Bortles in a way, and then he's just letting the defense carry it. And then Jordan Howard's extremely underrated, I think.
Oh yeah,
he's almost like a Le'Veon Bell light.
Yeah,
like he's really good after watching him for a long. That's why I'm kind of afraid of the Bears at this point.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? How do you think, Coach? This is for you specifically here. The Packers being ranked. The 1-0-1 Packers over the Bucks and over the Patriots in the power rankings at number 5.
I don't agree.
Too high, too low? What do you think?
Well, I think they'd be a solid like 4 or 5. I'd put them right next to the Vikings at 4 or 5, like interchangeably, because I think they're pretty even with the Vikings, just depending on who's at home.
You wouldn't put them over the Pats, would you?
No, I wouldn't put them over the Pats. Maybe once they prove they can kick field goals, they could move up there, but not right now.
Yeah.
And then the Bucks and then to round it out again, the 8, 9, and 10 slot. Bucks are 7th. Eagles, Falcons, Panthers, 8, 9, 10. I don't know what people were seeing I mean, like the Panthers I would rate below like the Bengals at this point.
I don't trust anything from NFL.com.
Yeah,
in terms of
well, that's why I'm listing all these, because I know that's not going to be accurate.
Yeah.
Well,
you're the coach here.
The question, right, is with the power rankings, and I don't know if they make this clear or not. Do the power rankings, are they meant to be predictive, or are they meant to just say like, hey, these teams are doing well right now based
on
stats? You know, like I think that's more what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Patriots are worse than the Packers right now. I think the Patriots are probably a more complete team than lots of teams in the NFL, I've sat and watched the Patriots kick their team's ass for like 10 years. It's been terrible. So like I know the Patriots well. They're gonna come out of this just fine.
Tom Brady can kind of carry you. It's pretty much the Aaron Rodgers scenario where like Aaron Rodgers can carry a mediocre team to the Super Bowl. Like Tom Brady does that.
Yeah. Like, well, and that's the thing. I think Tom Brady over the years hasn't had to carry his team as much as Aaron Rodgers has.
Mm-hmm.
And you would know better than I do about the completeness of your roster this year. But like the past couple of years, it really has been like Aaron dragging the team, kicking and screaming to the playoffs like every year. Like it's just him. He's the only one out there.
In 2010 when we won, we had we didn't really have a running game, but we had the 5 wide receivers. We had Driver, Jennings, Nelson, and 2 other ones I forget. But it's besides the point. We had all those guys, and then the defense was the biggest thing. We got turnovers. We had Tramon Williams. We had Charles Woodson. We had Nick Collins. We had like so many. Like the turnover ratio is insane. So they gave Aaron Rodgers a lot of opportunities to score. And ever since then, we've never had that good of a turnover defense since like 2011 when we went 15-1 and then lost to the Giants. And then it's just terrible time.
Well, how are the rookie CBs looking, by the way?
They look great. That's I think the best our secondaries look since that time of like Woodson and Williams. Well, Williams is back and he's kind of coaching up the guys, but Alexander looks amazing. Josh Jackson looks amazing. Haha is still pretty good back there. Like I'd say our Kentrell Bryce is okay. He's kind of the main weakness of the secondary. That and like even Kevin King from last year is really good, but like he went down and then Devon House came in. And right when Devon House came in, they threw like a Stephon Diggs like vertical route, and he couldn't keep up, and it was like an 80-yard touchdown. And I'm like, oh no, here it comes. The Suds. Once you get into that like secondary depth, that's when we start falling apart a bit. But like, you hopefully don't have to go back there. Like if we can keep our starters, I think we're pretty solid.
Like looking from the outside in, the Packers look to me like a team that's, I don't want to use the big R word, but they do kind of feel like it's somewhere in between rebuild and reload.
Yeah.
And you're getting younger right now, which is good because Aaron's what, like 30, 34, 35?
Yeah, he's like 35.
Yeah, so he as long as he stays healthy, he's got another at least like probably 5 years based on how QBs have been playing or how long QBs have been playing in the league these days.
Mm-hmm.
So if he stays healthy, like I could see the Packers being like a real threat the next couple of years, especially with Tom Brady retiring. Oh, please, God, soon. Please, soon. Please.
He is immortal.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is now even Aaron Jones returns, and I think Aaron Jones is our best running back. So I'm pretty excited to see him. Plus, oh my God, the next 2 weeks we play Washington and Buffalo, which is like, praise Jesus. After playing Buffalo. 2 good division rivals, now we get to play like the shit show teams.
Watch how many Packer players get lifted off of waivers on the Buffalo week.
I can't wait.
I want to give you guys a true or false. This is for both of you. I'll start with Rob. True or false, Rob? Will Joshua Flash Gordon make an impact and actually matter this season for the Patriots? True or false?
True.
Coach, same question.
I'm gonna say true as well, and I think it's because the Patriots have done this before.
Yeah.
It's just they take troubled players. They're kind of like the Bengals, but better at it. Instead of being like they like kind of discipline the player, like, hey, you gotta wake up on time, be here, blah blah. And then if you don't do it, they cut you. But like in the Bengals, they're like, hey man, just like show up and like if you're good, like do what you want.
Well, here's the thing too, right? With Flash, like so you could point to Brandon Cooks, right? Like they traded a second round pick for Brandon Cooks and then got back a first round pick because Bill Belichick is a Sith Lord, but and he didn't look that great, right? He didn't look great on New England, but what he did is he was drawing double coverages a lot, which opens up things for your defense, and that's important. Now I think Josh Gordon, as far as like physical talents are concerned, he's he might be the most physically gifted wide receiver in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously that's high praise, but I mean, just like from a raw physical ability standpoint, like he's crazy, right?
Yeah.
He's not the same as Brandon Cooks. Now, is he going to be able to put it together and chill out in New England? I don't know, but we've seen Bill work his magic before, his dark magic, cutting off tails and newts and throwing it into the cauldron. And if he does become Randy Moss, I have a shot of bleach waiting for me because I'm so mad that he went over there.
Yeah, but I called it too. I knew that was going to happen. I said second that the Browns were going to release him, I said, you know what, Belichick is all. I know that he's already like foaming at the mouth, ready to get.
Got him for a fifth.
Got him for nothing.
If he balls out and the Browns traded him for a 5th round pick, look, I like the Browns. I consider them my second AFC team, honestly,
Right.
because I want the Browns to succeed, man.
Yeah, we all do at this point.
You can't not root for the Browns, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like they're kind of turning things around, but like, come on, man. Like, oh, hey, by the way, everyone, we're cutting Josh Gordon. Teams are interested in him. Actually, we're gonna trade him. We're trading him, by the way. League, hey, everybody, why don't you send draft picks? We won't cut him. Oh yeah, sure, you're not gonna cut. That's how they got him for a freaking 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me?
How many?
How can we not beat a 5th?
I want to pose another question to you all. This is a random trivia question now. Answer it if you know it. How many Browns franchise records would you say that Josh Gordon holds?
Probably like all of them.
I'll give you the estimate. It's a number between 1 and 10.
I'd say
4.
6.
He owns 5 franchise records for the Browns.
There we go.
In
the how many seasons did he end up playing with them?
Dude,
I think 5 out of 7.
I'm gonna tell you straight up. And here's the thing about Josh Gordon. That I understand why people would be hesitant about him. The truth is, he's had one good year.
Yeah.
One. Out of the whole time, he's 27 years old. He's had one good year.
But I mean, he's been on the Browns.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing, and he's had his history, right? So
yeah.
That one good year looked crazy good, though. So to put that into perspective, him having 5 records in 1 year is pretty wild.
Listen, if I was on the Browns, I'd be doing drugs too. All right. But maybe now that he's with the Patriots, it's kind of like a Vontae Davis situation. Like, hey, man, I'm on a good team now. I got to get my shit together. I can win the Super Bowl. Like,
yeah, and I'll tell you the truth. I've been to Boston. The nightlife ends at about 10 p.m. there, so I think he'll be fine over there. So
ask Mathis about the Boston nightlife.
Mathis,
we need assistant coach Mathis here, but those five franchise records were set in his career year, which was the 2013 season for the Browns. I personally think that we're going to see him emerge as, like, now that he has an actual quarterback playing with him, and he's got a team that has a coach that is going to pretty much rein him in. Like, that Belichick doesn't take anything. I mean, if Belichick can turn around a misfit like Aqib Talib and the cheap shotting piece of human garbage as LeGarrette Blount from going to what they are to being considered elite players now and Super Bowl champions, mind you, I think that Josh Gordon turns into one of the scariest wideouts in the AFC. I mean,
he's got all the tools. He does. He has all the tools necessary.
Yep.
To be that Randy Moss, like that Tom Brady to Randy Moss connection.
I cannot believe that the Browns gave him up for a 5th rounder.
You never know, right? Like a year from now, maybe we're saying, oh, they gave up a 5th for him. So,
yeah,
true.
You never know. But
he has to play 10 games, I believe, was the deal, or they can get a 7th back or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't hear about that stipulation.
Yeah, he needs to be active 10 games. I think, right. But the other thing too is, when is he going to start playing? You don't know. How long is it going to take for him to learn that offense? And really, what the hell happened in Cleveland? What happened to make they stuck with this guy for years, and he pulls a hammy at a photo shoot and doesn't tell the team, and that's it. That's the one that's gonna be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
You're gone.
I still suspect there's more to that story. I don't think they said outright it's not a failed drug test, so I don't think it's that, because I don't think they're just straight up liars. Yeah, they did. Dorsey
they officially said that it was that they ruled out.
Yeah, they officially said it was not a failed drug test. So unless they're lying, and I don't think they're necessarily lying, I wouldn't put stock into that. Like, there's got to be something else going on there, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation. Because, I mean, they could be lying. You don't know. Like, to be like, well, we can get something back if we don't tell anybody he's doing drugs again. Like, I don't know.
But if John Dorsey does that, right? Like, if he lies about a failed drug test, right?
Mm-hmm.
One, I actually don't know if that is grounds for the NFL fining the team or whatever. It could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is, who the fuck is going to trade with John Dorsey ever again if he did? Right? So,
maybe what happened is, like, it's not a failed drug test or something, but, like, he showed up kind of, like, loopy or, like, maybe a bit, like, buzzed or something. So, like, he didn't fail anything, but they were still like, okay.
Right.
You guys saw that tweet that I think I told Krendor. I don't know if I told you, Rob. I'm pasting it right now in a private chat. That is the most hilariously depressing tweet I think I've ever seen on Twitter. Period. It's the official Cleveland Browns Twitter account posting the final after the Browns up the game and let the Saints win. And it's just the word final with the I can't believe it emoji I expected, the expressionless face emoji.
Well,
it's so sad. It's so sad.
Let's quickly recap every other game that isn't as important as the ones we've already talked about.
Yeah. Okay.
Falcons beat the Panthers 31-24. So we already talked about NFC South. It's kind of like, they'll both be in it.
Yeah.
Bengals beat the Ravens. Again, it's kind of a similar situation. Those teams are like probably both going to compete.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the Bengals are 2-0 right now. Actually,
yeah, Bengals are 2-0.
Andy Dalton is playing some of the best football in his career. He's 6 touchdowns for 1 interception with 64% completion.
Well, talk to me again when we're in the playoffs and Andy Dalton can't hit a target. Colts over the Redskins 21-9. Andrew Luck first win.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good. Again, the Redskins are kind of like the Raiders of the NFC with Adrian Peterson and Alex Smith leading.
I mean, they did draw a trip threes there on Sunday with the 0-3-3-3 there, coach.
Dude, so. Hear the Vikings trade for their kicker. Like, oh shit, dude. Even the Browns, they could trade for him too.
Yeah,
they should.
Yeah, they should. Titans beat the Texans, which surprised me, actually. I didn't think the Titans would win with all their injuries.
Yeah.
Texans are just... I hate the Texans because of course I'm in Houston, so I have to deal with it, but every single season, man, we got to hear the Texans are going to be the standout breakout team in the AFC.
I thought Watson was going to break out. But he's not.
But I've never seen any evidence for Deshaun Watson to be able to do that, though. He plays good every now and then, but
well, I mean, last year, he was on track to get that Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty much on lock. He was balling out, but
yeah,
this happens all the time, right? Where a rookie quarterback has a great first year, and then the opposing defenses the next year have 16. Or, well, not in Deshaun Watson cases, but I mean, they have a bunch of game tape about how to beat him, right?
Cough, Cowboys.
Right, yeah. But I still think Deshaun Watson is probably going to ball out eventually. I don't think the Texans are ready yet.
I'm writing this down. Rob, Alpaca Patrol, 4:22 p.m., the 18th of September, 2018. I think Deshaun Watson will eventually ball out of control. I've got it. I've written in my notes here.
If he can stay healthy, I think he can. Because I mean, he's not playing bad football right now. He's just
no. Their defense is terrible.
Yeah, he's 3 touchdowns for 2 interceptions with just on the edge of 60% completion percentage and 500 yards basically. So, I mean, he's playing okay. He's not doing what he did last year, but he's doing fine.
He's no Sam Darnold over here. But...
the Steelers lost 42-37. The Steelers are now 0-1-1. They kind of just look like the typical, like, hey, we're the Steelers, and for some reason our defense is bad, like, even though, but we score a lot of points, which is a weird Steelers thing.
With the Steelers, there was a post on the NFL subreddit the other day about the Steelers game. There have been like 500 plus games played where a team scored 40 points at home. No one has ever, or 37 points or whatever, like that amount of points. No team has ever lost, except for the Steelers. And that is the other record when you don't count just at home. Only one team has lost, and it was the Browns.
Oh God!
So like, I mean,
good company.
Yeah, so I don't think that necessarily means that Pittsburgh is bad, but I mean, it's not a good stretch of the season. 0-1-1.
Coach, I thought you were going to go with the Steelers. Kind of look like another team that we know of with the same record called the Cleveland Browns.
Well, I think they have a little more firepower than the Browns, but I think the Browns have a better defense than Pittsburgh. I think the Browns will beat Pittsburgh when they play them again.
I can't wait for that game.
Yeah.
By the way, Dolphins 2-0. Can you tell me about the Dolphins? Because are they good, or is it just the 2-0 start?
Here's the thing. Okay. So in fairness, I didn't watch their first game.
Right.
But the game last Sunday was basically two teams. It was two teams fighting as hard as they could to lose the game. And,
okay, it's one of those.
And the Jets managed to do it. Like they, so we had I think 3 turnovers on the day. Okay, that may look good on the stats at the end of the year. One of the turnovers was the Dolphins center hitting snapping the ball into his own ankle. And then the other one was Ryan Tannehill backpedaling from Jordan Jenkins, and he doesn't even try to throw it away. He doesn't even get hit by Jordan Jenkins. The ball just comes out of his hand. So like, I don't necessarily think the Dolphins are what their record says they are.
Yeah.
But then again, it is week 2. So
yeah.
You never.
We've seen like the Cardinals and the Bills start like 5-0 and then lose the rest of their games. So I mean,
yeah,
you never know. And then we've got the Saints beat the Browns. Obviously, Saints. I'm still kind of I'm rooting for them to lose because we have their draft pick. So I'd really like to get that higher up.
I just hate the Saints. Period.
Yeah. So that made me sad. But what are you gonna do? 49ers beat the Lions 30-27. 49ers, I think, will go like 8-8. They look like they still got some rebuilding to do.
Yeah.
Unless they click or something, it all fires on all cylinders.
Well,
Rams. What are you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say with like the Niners, like, look, like everybody was super hot on Jimmy G, and I understand why. Like he has some really impressive throwing mechanics. Like he like maybe he doesn't have Mahomes' arm, but like when you watch his release, it's crazy fast. You can barely see his arm with how fast he releases the ball. So I mean, he's probably going to end up being good. But that team last year was like what 1-7 before Jimmy G got there.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not ready for a good quarterback yet, I think.
Well, the thing was they were playing bad opponents down the stretch too. I'm pretty sure, right?
Well, no, there were a couple games in there I think where it was like playoff teams and they did well.
It was they played the Cardinals. Let's see, 49ers lose. Then they beat. What's on? 49ers lose. Wait, is this the right? Am I looking at the right? There's just a bunch of losses here. Wait, this is 16. Hold on. Hold on, I got it. I know how to use the internet.
Coach Scott, he's got it. I gotta figure out this thing here.
Because they were playing. Let's see, 49ers schedule. Maybe I don't got it. Hold on. Okay, 49ers beat the Bears. They beat the Bears. They beat the Texans. They beat the Titans. They beat the Jaguars, and they beat the Rams. So, I mean, the Rams rested their starters. It was week 17.
Yeah.
The Jaguars was kind of impressive, but still, it's like week 16. They're probably like gearing up for the playoffs or something, or it's the Jaguars.
Even so, yeah.
Yeah. They beat the Giants. So like, I mean, a lot of these teams weren't that great, and now you go up against like some better opposite. Even then, the Lions. Like, you get your win against the Lions. So I don't know. I think 8-8, 7-9 is probably good for the 49ers.
I agree. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Rams 34-0 over the Cardinals. Cardinals are garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad I drafted my first pick there on David Johnson.
Yeah.
Good. He's got a whole combined total of, I think, 3 fantasy points.
That's like when I took Todd Gurley the first round. Then the Rams were awful, and then the next year he like blew up. I was like, oh, why couldn't you do that last year?
Well, it's weird because it's like the Rams might just be really good. But also the Cardinals don't look very good at all. Like
yeah.
And Sam Bradford, who they just paid $20 million, is playing really poorly, like really, really bad. It makes you wonder, you think they're going to start Rosen at some point? I honestly, like, going into this season, I thought Rosen was probably the only QB out of that bunch that was just going to sit most of the year.
Yeah.
I think if Bradford has another bad game, I think they're starting him, man.
Oh, no doubt. I think they'll definitely start him.
If they're 0-3,
got nothing to lose.
Yeah. You're 0-3 and Sam Bradford keeps throwing picks and no completion percentage. I don't. Can Rosen do worse?
Yeah, you might as well get him experience at that point. Right. And then we had the Cowboys over the Giants. That game looked pretty bad.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And then the Bears beat the Seahawks. Seahawks, welcome back to the bottom, Seahawks. Your offensive line's terrible.
Thank God, by
the defense. Speaking of the defense, I saw you link the Legion of Boom animation.
Yeah.
Which truly, what is up with all these
Mr. Carroll? I don't feel so good.
What's up with all these primetime things doing these shitty graphics? Like they did the Game of Thrones one with the Packer Bear game. Yeah. It's like the Kings of the North. Like, what the shit is that?
Did you see last week's with the Raiders where they had a bunch of players jumping off the plank on a partnership? Oh man, I honestly hope they keep doing them because they're hilarious.
They're prime meme territory.
It feels like maybe a 16-year-old is in charge of the ESPN graphics, and they are amazing, and I want them to continue every week.
It looks like they made like a bad WoW machinima video.
It does. I love them.
It's perfect in every way.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and finish up by looking ahead and see some of the games coming up. Week 1, Thursday night, we got Jets-Browns. We got the ultimate battle.
The toilet bowl.
Slobber knocker.
Can't wait for that one.
I think the Browns might get the win or a tie. You know what? I'm gonna put my money on a tie. Let's go for that 0-1-2.
Yeah.
Predictions.
Miles Garrett is going to shred our offensive line. Sam Darnold is going to be running for his life the entire game. And but I think it's going to be close, but I'm going to say 55-45 Jets.
All right, you got the shootout.
Yeah.
I was just gonna like pick the winner here. I can totally see the Browns winning this game.
Yeah,
but I also don't see them winning this game. I gotta give it to the Jets.
Here's the thing with the Browns, okay? Like they're gonna.
I want them to win.
That franchise is fucking cursed. The football gods hate them because if they had even a decent kicker, they would be 2-0 right now.
Yeah,
you realize
they'd
be 2-0 right now. That's so. This guy missed 4 last week.
Yeah, he missed 4.
Have they cut him yet? Is Gonzalez?
Yeah. They're bringing in a new guy this week.
God.
So I think the Browns are far better than their record shows. But we'll see.
I'm gonna say 24-24 tie. Heard it here first.
All right.
right.
We got the Saints Falcons. I'm gonna go Falcons.
I'm
gonna go Saints.
Oof.
I think the Saints are going to bounce back.
They're playing at home, right?
What they're playing against
Atlanta.
The Falcons at home? Yeah.
Atlanta. Here's
the thing: Drew Brees is Drew Brees, and last week the Saints have kind of always done this, where it's just like they'll play down to their opponents, similar like the Steelers do, where it's just like games that should be easy games for them are not. So I think them going into a divisional game, even though they're away, you got to keep in mind, like with preseason, with a guy like Drew Brees, he probably played like 2 snaps in the preseason.
Yeah.
He's gonna take some time to get into the rhythm, and that whole team is, I'm sure. So yeah, I think the Saints could pull that one out.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a toss up, I think. But I like the Falcons a little more.
Yeah, Falcons. Give it to the Falcons.
Packers at Redskins. Obviously, my bias. Packers. I think will win it like 27-17 or something.
I think you're right.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say a tie.
I swear to God, if we tie again, I'm going to lose my mind. At least Aaron Rodgers he didn't tear his ACL, so I'm just happy he's playing in the grand scheme of things.
Calling it a tie, Coach. Calling a tie.
All right. Colts at Eagles. I'm gonna take Eagles.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm taking the Colts. I'm taking the Colts.
I think you're insane.
I think I am too.
Eagles are going to bounce back after the crushing loss from Tampa.
Foles is still starting.
No, I think Wentz is starting, isn't he?
I don't think he's starting next week. Is he?
They said Wentz has been cleared.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think Foles is going to be starting.
Well, if Foles isn't starting, then honestly, I have no idea on that prediction.
All right,
we'll see.
Vikings at home against the Bills. Tough one to call. Tough one to call.
I don't even need to call this one, Coach. Go to the next game.
All right, Raiders at Dolphins. I think the Raiders can take their first win here.
I think they could too.
Yeah.
But despite me shit talking the Dolphins just a couple minutes ago, Tannehill is a better quarterback than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be a close one.
Yeah, it'll be close.
I think Gruden's going to have them fired up, and the Raiders. They do. I don't think that they look like an 0-2 team. They've lost by a very small margin to the Broncos.
It's been close.
Yeah, I see the Raiders taking that one.
Even the Rams, they lost to. It was still pretty close for like 3 quarters. Broncos at Ravens.
It's gonna be a tough matchup.
I think the Broncos take it. I think
Broncos
they
are
go 3-0
team.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm gonna go Ravens. I think the Ravens will take it. I think Case Keenum's shitty quarterback play is finally gonna come back to haunt him. They're gonna lose a game.
Yeah, I can see the Ravens taking it, but if I were a betting man, Coach, I'd take Denver on that.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Bengals at Panthers.
I have no idea. Panthers,
cat battle,
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
It's just
I think the Panthers. Fight. I like the Panthers too. I think Mixon's injured for like a few weeks or something too.
Oh, really?
So I think that'll probably impact.
I have to root against Carolina because A, I hate them, and B, because they're in the NFC South.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna say Bengals on that one, Coach.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with the Panthers, right? Like every other year they make the playoffs. Last year they didn't make it, so I think they're gonna do well this year.
Yeah, kind of the off-year team. Giants at Texans. Oof.
Barn burner, Coach. Barn burner.
Dude,
honestly,
hear me out. That's gonna be a shootout. You know what? I'll put money down. I'm not gonna put money down on it, but I'm just gonna say, I think people are gonna expect that game to be like, "Ooh, this is gonna be shitty." I think that one's gonna be a shootout. Eli's gonna come in. He's gonna be like, "No, I'm not Eli. I'm 3-Lie. I'm ready, dude."
Yeah,
or he's gonna, trip and break his leg and then
they're killing that poor man. Did you see that hit he took last night?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's fine. He's got a massive helmet. He's fine.
You guys remember when they could have took a quarterback? That was a good time.
Oh man, dude, I've said this through the offseason. If Sam Darnold even turns out to be average, they're gonna regret taking Saquon.
Yeah.
Even if he's a Hall of Fame running back,
quarterback's one of the hardest positions to get, especially just a good one.
Well, yeah, it's easy for you to say, Mr. Rogers from Favre era. He's only had 2 quarterbacks.
I've only watched 2. All right, I also watched Brett Hundley last year. All right, and I was like, thank God. I've never
that's
had
what
to
it's
go
like
through this.
every year for me. Every year.
Yeah, you speak for yourself also here too in Tampa. I mean, I had to suffer through Josh
It's
Freeman.
like, I was essentially just like a rich person having to work like a retail job. Like, oh my god, a year of retail? That was terrible. Get me back to that Aaron Rodgers
Yeah,
rich
let me go
life.
back to a life of luxury.
Like, oh, this is, thank God, 20-0? That's nothing. Let's just blow them out and score 30 points in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm talking about.
To put it into perspective, Joe Namath still has the franchise record for passing yards. Okay, that he passed for in 1969. That's how bad passing has been here.
Dude,
So.
when Kaiser came in, he looked pretty good until Khalil Mack was like, sit down, boy.
Yeah,
Dude, I look. I said it last year before the season started, and I was proven extraordinarily wrong. But I like the Sean Kaiser the best out of that QB crop.
Yeah. I think next year he'll take a step forward. I think a year behind Rodgers is going to be good for him.
yeah.
I don't dislike the Packers, but I would be really mad if you go 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row. I would be
Yeah.
really angry.
I just like
That
the
would.
Packers. Screw Green Bay. I hate them.
All right, haters going to hate. I'll dab on you.
Yeah.
Let's see, Titans at Jaguars, an epic battle. That used to be a terrible game, almost like a Jets-Browns game, but I think
This
The
game's
Jag-
game of the
it'll be-
week right here.
it'll be a good game, but the
Yeah.
Jaguars will win it.
I
It's
think
gonna
it'll
be a
probably
good game.
It'll probably be a defensive game, honestly.
Yeah, it'll be defensive, no doubt.
I'm telling you, this game's gonna be the most exciting game. It's gonna be low scoring, but high action.
Yeah.
It's two very good defenses, and Titans don't get enough credit defensively for what they do.
Yeah.
But I think that when it's all said and done, I see the Jaguars taking it. But this is going to be one hell of a game.
Yeah. 49ers at Chiefs. I think this has
Chiefs.
potential for like a 49ers making it close type of thing, but I still think the Chiefs are just too strong.
Chiefs going to smoke them. They're going to smoke them like a peace pipe.
Dude, I would kill to watch Jimmy G and Pat Mahomes in a shootout. Like
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
I'm expecting it.
Yeah,
It could happen.
The
it could
Chiefs
happen.
have no defense.
Neither
Yeah.
do the Niners.
That's what I'm saying. Now is a great time to own Chiefs and Pat
Dude, I have
Mahomes.
Garoppolo and Mahomes. Who do I play?
Yeah. Well,
I'm playing Mahomes. No
yeah,
newsflash.
that's not even a question there.
There's no reason not to, honestly.
That's
Battle of
question
the
your coaching decisions.
Battle of the Los Angeles teams after that. Chargers at Rams.
Rams are gonna just ram them.
Yeah.
I think I don't think so. I think the Chargers will lose by a point.
You think the Chargers? Oh, okay. Well,
They'll miss a field goal and they'll lose. That's what's going to happen.
Rivers will river it up and throw a
Yeah.
couple of INTs late after their defense gives them a
Yep.
good chance.
Cowboys at Seahawks. 3 years ago, this game would have been phenomenal. This year, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, that's gonna be real bad.
It's gonna be hilarious.
Well, who does Dallas have on the D line? They got DeMarcus Lawrence still.
Yeah.
And didn't they have somebody else who looked good last night? I don't remember.
They still have Sean. The linebacker? Sean.
I think
whatever.
Sean Lee's out.
Yeah,
but maybe
Sean-
he's
oh.
not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really like the Cowboys, so I don't really pay
And
attention
they
to
got
them that
Tyrone
much.
Crawford. On
Oh
the,
yeah, they got Crawford.
yeah,
He's good.
He's pretty good, but you talk about a stinker right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have faith in Dak Prescott, but Russell Wilson is a freaking god. So I don't know, man.
But do
Yeah.
you really think the Seattle defense, this year's Seattle defense, is going to be able to stop Des Bryant, even if he feels like playing today?
Des Bryant.
Yeah, he's not there anymore.
Not
Des
Des,
Bryant
Bryant.
just
I'm
tweets.
thinking.
Ezekiel Elliott.
No. I'm thinking of Elliott.
Zeke, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's really these teams. They're not good. Neither one's gonna do
Yeah.
anything. Bears at Cardinals. I think the Bears will win easy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, Cardinals aren't good unless the Cardinals flip the script or something crazy.
I'm not rooting for it, but I'm not like I feel
Oh,
bad
here
for
we
Sam
go.
Bradford. No, I feel bad for Sam Bradford. Like he just had to go up against Aaron Donald, and his next week is Khalil Mack. Like I don't know, man. I'm surprised his knee hasn't exploded.
Yeah,
into the
or his
stratosphere
body.
right now. Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but
Gotta go Bears on that one.
yeah, me too.
Sunday night Patriots at Lions. Jeez,
I mean,
I don't know how you can pick the Lions.
If you think that like televising a murder is like legal, then,
I would kill to see the Lions stomp the
Yeah.
Patriots into the ground, but I don't think it's going to happen. However,
No.
one thing that I will mention, so the Jets players said after week 1 that they knew the signals from the
Yeah.
Lions game,
Hmm.
which makes you wonder, right? Like, is Matt Patricia using the same signals from New England?
He's got to be.
Because if he is, then New England's obviously going to know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there.
Side
I would hope
prediction.
they're smart enough to be like, maybe we should change the signs this week, guys.
No,
Sure
no
they
one
do,
did.
yeah.
No one's smart in the NFL.
Yeah.
Mr.
Side
Patricia,
prediction-
should we change this? Shut up, we're playing. Follow
Side
the
prediction,
signs.
Will Gordon have a touchdown this week? Yes or no?
No,
No, I don't think he's playing.
I don't think he's going to play.
He
He's
has
still
to
got
play
a few
10
weeks
games,
in him, I
otherwise
think.
otherwise the Pats get a 7th rounder.
Yeah, they still got
Yeah.
3 weeks.
I think he'll play in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Not this week, though.
Has it been confirmed that he's not playing this week?
No,
No.
but I just don't think.
But he's playing receiver on what is probably the most complicated offense in the league.
Yeah.
So I no matter how smart he is, like that's got to be. And he's got like it's a short week, right? Like he's only gonna be there for like 5 days. So
Yeah.
I mean, he did go to Baylor, so he's pretty smart.
And finally, we've got the Steelers Buccaneers.
Bucks.
I think it's good. Well, obviously, but it's gonna be. I think it'll be a shootout. This is gonna be a fun game to watch.
That
the,
would
the
be
high-scoring
hilarious.
Steelers and then the Fitzmagic Buccaneers. It's gonna be like a 50-40 game. Steelers probably score 40 and lose again.
But
I hope
I'd love
so.
that.
gonna say a conservative coach. I'm gonna say Buccaneers take it 105-92.
All right, I like that. I like that. All right. Well, hey, thanks for joining me and talking about football.
Yeah,
And
A lot of fun.
hopefully we can do this like every week.
yeah.
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 I had a lot of fun. It was enjoyable. I love talking about football,
Yeah.
even though I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm fully aware of that.
Tune in
me
next
too.
week on the Sam Darnold podcast with Rob.
I'll put all our social links in the thing below, and then if you'd like following our tweets about football, you can follow our tweets about football. I mean, pretty much we just tweet about our own team. So I'll be like, the Packer do thing, and you'll be like Sam Darnold, and then Sinvicta's like Bucks, woo. Or
Yeah.
anti-Saints. Sinvicta also tweets anti-Saints
Hate the
things.
Saints. Hate the Saints.
All right. Well, I'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
See you.